Hey guys, this is JBlade2000, and I'm sorry about my other deck profile. It wasn't really that good. I kept saying, so that's really good a lot and stuff, so I'm going to try to do better this time. So this deck profile is yellow, and it's based off the Acana-Magician archetype that you'll find in the English edition of Battle Spirits. And what this deck focuses on is leveling up your spirits and demoting your opponents. So you can just soar over your opponent's spirits and cut away at the life. So we start off with 3 peon, just a good 0 drop, just a good late game, good early game, just standard 0. Next, I run 3 Fairy Tanyas because of 1 reduction, and it has 3 levels instead of just 2, so that's pretty good. It gets 3000 power for 3 core, which is decent. Alright, next we go to the Arcana, and I'm sorry about the phone in the background. The Arcana Spirits. We run 2 Arcana Beast Kin. I mainly run him because he's free to play with 2 cost and 2 reduction. So, he can come out very cheaply. Plus he has Arcana in the name, so he can be fodder for spells and abilities and stuff. His ability is at level 3. All of your spirits with Arcana in the name get plus 2000 when they block. So he essentially turns your guys into white spirits. There we go, sorry. Next, I run 3 Arcana Daltria. This guy is a pretty decent card. I usually like to start off the game with him. 3 cost, 1 reduction, so he's not really that expensive. He has the ability at level 2 for Brilliance, and also at level 2 he has 4000 BP, so that is really good. What Brilliance does is, when you play a spell card in Flash Timing, you can bring it back to your hand, so that's always a good card. So this guy's pretty solid. You'll see him a lot if you play this deck. Next, I run 3 Arcana Beast. I'm not sure how to quite pronounce his name. Paria. He doesn't really have that decent reduction, but he's just too good to leave out. At level 2, he has Brilliance, which is, as I explained before, you play spell and Flash Timing, you get it back with him. And at level 3, he has the ability during the battle phase, all of your spirits with Arcana in the name get plus 2000, so he's pretty good. I was running Arcana Beast Heart in here, but he can do the same thing for the same amount of core on him, so he's just better all around. Next, I run 3 copies of Arcanadal Pan. This card is probably one of the best cards in the deck, or the best card in the deck. He has really good reduction, okay BP, and he has the ability that when he's summoned, you can exhaust an opponent's spirit. So this guy's pretty good for just laying it down and letting your opponent not be able to block. So he is really good. Next, I run 1 Helldog Cerberus. 4 cost, 2 reduction, so you'd be playing him for 2. At level 1, he can't attack or block. Or is it level 1? No, it's level 1 and 2, he can't attack or block. But at level 3, you get to take one of your opponent's level 8 or level 6 spirits, and control it for the turn, and then give it back to them. So he can be useful. Ever since I saw this guy on Bashantopa with Smile, I was like, that's a pretty cool card, so I had to add him in this deck. Next, unfortunately, we only have 2 copies of Arcana Prince Obero. I wish I had 3, but I don't. His ability is at any level, when he attacks, he gains 1,000 power for each spirit with Arcana in the name you have. And his second ability is all my spirits with a cost of 2 get Arcana in the name. Unfortunately, the only 2 cost spirits I have are Kin, and he already has Arcana in the name, so that ability is kind of useless. But I run him for his first ability, and he has Arcana in the name. Next, I run 1, the Angela Virtue, because, you know, who wouldn't want a beautiful angel in their deck? Cost 5, 1 reduction, but she's just good for core management. Her ability is that when she's on the field, she lets all of your yellow spirits get 1 reduction. So she's pretty good just to kind of manage core. And then we have Trickster, just a little elf girl thing. 3 reduction, 6 cost, so she can come out for pretty cheap. And she actually is really good in this deck because the combo makes you play spells in the main phase, and Brilliance lets you take it back in the flash step. So she's pretty good for getting back spells that were used in the main phase, since her ability is when she's summoned she can take a spell from the trash and put it into your hand. Now we go to the boss of the deck, the Great Angela, Prince of Pearl. Her ability is when summoned, she can destroy a spirit up to a cost of 4, and however many pieces of core were on that spirit, you gain in your reserve. So it's pretty good, because like I mentioned, you're going to be leveling up all of your spirits a lot, since this deck focuses on you leveling up your spirits to attack your opponent. And her second ability is like Sleep Horse that I mentioned before. She gains plus 2,000 more power when you use a spell to boost her. Alright, now on to Nexuses. I run 2 the Spring of Full Magical Powers. I run 4 Nexuses. What it does at level 1, with 2 reductions, so it's pretty good reduction. At level 1, if you have 3 or more spirits with Arcana in the name, your opponent's spirits cost 1 more to summon. So if you have 2 of these out, their spirits would cost 2 more to summon. And at level 2, every time your opponent attacks and you have 3 or more Arcana spirits, it basically turns all your spirits purple. When they attack, they have to move a core off of their spirits to the reserve or trash. So it's kind of a passive-aggressive Nexus, since its effects only take place on your opponent's turn, but it's still pretty good. Next, I run 2 Sealed Spellbook. What this does, it allows you to choose which player affects effect. So this is pretty good with purple or red against that, since you can kind of choose. And with this one, I'll show you a spell later on that doubles its power. At level 2, when a card allows you to draw, you can double that number. So that's pretty good. Alright, next are the spells. I run 3 Puppet String, which makes the non-Arcana spirits work really well in this deck. It's free to play, cost 2 reduction. It lets you, with all your spirits, they get Arcana and the Magician archetype for the rest of the turn, and you gain plus 1,000 in flash timing. Next, I should have 3, there we go, 3 4 cards. What it does is it levels down, if you have 4 more Arcana spirits, it levels down your opponent's spirits. And so if you have all your spirits leveled up, you play this. and you can soar right over the spirits, your opponent's spirits, and it works really well with this one because you play this, you turn all your spirits Arcana, you play this 4 more spirits, and then there you go, and you soar over your opponents. Next, I run, unfortunately, 1 magic book. I wish I had more. It lets you drop all the spells in your hand and draw that many cards from the top of your deck. So if you have like a really crappy hand of all spells, you can ditch those and draw some spirits. And it also lets you play the cards you took out of the game like they were in your hand. So it gives you basically 2 hands to work with. Alright, next I run 2 Spirit Illusion. You choose a color, and each spirit with the selected color is treated as its highest level that turn. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with these cards. So just another. Now these are defensive cards. Great Wall, spirits with a cost of 6 or 8 cannot attack, and so if you use this with the sealed spellbook, your 8 and 6 cost spirits like Prince of Pearl and Trickster can attack and block, but your opponents can't. And then, unfortunately, 1 Heavy Gate. It's like the card I just showed you, but for 0. And 1 spirit cost 0, and 1 spirits can't attack. Use this with sealed spellbook. Next I have Judgment Lights. Same thing. Your opponent's spirits are treated as level 1. You can only use this with 2 or more core on it, and it gives you plus 5,000 in flash timing. And last card of the deck is Same Tired. You use this and you exhaust as many of your opponent's spirits as you have exhausted spirits on the field. So another defensive card. So all in all, I really like my deck. I wish I could have gotten more copies of some of the cards in this deck, but I think it works fine. It's just a fun deck to play, and I've been building it for a while, so it's great to see it completed.